One of my favorite comic books of all time is Archie Meets the Punisher.
Well, we could also do like a really mega musical thing.
Yeah.
I, of course, tortured Roberto by bringing every single person that had ever appeared in a single episode of Twin Peaks into audition.
That is something that's been talked about that I'm not allowed to talk about anymore.
So I wanted to ask you, because obviously you guys, especially, you've worked on comic shows before. So what new characters can we expect? And will there be any kind of crossover at all between the shows? Because for me, everyone's talking about Arrowverse.
I don't know if they're going to be, but I would love to do a crossover show. I've kind of like mentioned it in passing, waiting for Greg to be like, yeah, let's do it. It hasn't happened yet, but I would love
I'm crossing
to do
my
it.
fingers.
I would love to do
only
it.
because it's so hard to schedule the current crossover.
But I would, and
yeah.
I'd be great.
And what would your idea be for it?
You know, one of my favorite comic books of all time is Archie Meets the Punisher.
Wow.
But yeah,
Wow.
it was like an iconic comic book when I was a kid. I was like, wait, that can exist? And obviously Punisher's in a different family, but I do think Arrow is like the Punisher, and it would be great if the Green Arrow came to Riverdale.
Especially at the moment.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'd love that crossover. Just putting it out there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like if we got the Flash or Supergirl, we could also do like a really mega musical.
Yeah. That's true too. That is true.
Want to do a musical episode?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure. We're like love the music element, and we have everyone's a great singer on the show. It's like Lily can sing, Cammy can sing, Veronica. That obviously the Pussycats, Archie. Maybe the only kid who can't sing is Cole. So he
can
maybe
talk.
he could just be kind of like
He can narrate.
Exactly. He can narrate exactly.
All right, I got a burning question. Where is Hot Dog? Because Jughead's been living at the drive-in. Where's Hot Dog?
That is a really
I
good
think
question.
Hot Dog is currently with his mom.
And
Interesting.
Right.
But I'm going to tease something. You may see Hot Dog before the season's end.
Oh.
Burning answer.
And I'll also say this: Hot Dog is hugely important to the actor Cole Sprouse. He brings up Hot Dog all the time. So when he comes here, ask him about Hot Dog. Ask him about Hot Dog.
And we know that the Coopers and the Blossoms are like the Hatfields and McCoys.
Yeah.
So if they were going to fight Coopers versus Blossoms, who would win?
Ooh, that's I would bet on the Coopers mostly because of Alice.
Only because if you took the moms out,
yeah. But
I think Cheryl could take.
Yeah, Cheryl's pretty formidable.
Cheryl could take Betty, but Alice is a world ender.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of comparison between Riverdale and Twin Peaks. How much inspiration, I guess, have you guys taken from that?
I mean, we've talked about it since the very beginning, and I think you see it in some of the casting. I, of course, tortured Roberto by bringing every single person that had ever appeared in a single episode of Twin Peaks into audition, because that was such a seminal show for me growing up. And I think what Twin Peaks did was it had like a sort of 1950s sensibility, and it kind of peeled back the skin, and it's we also talk a lot about Blue Velvet and that sort of opening images of that like white picket fence and the green grass, and then you realize there's a severed ear and destruction, and it's that combination of like the innocent and the macabre, which I think is very is in Roberto's kind of writing. So
yeah, I mean, it was funny. We when we first were talking about doing an Archie show, it was very much just a coming of age show, and I remember early on, Sarah, you brought up Twin Peaks, and Greg also brought it up, and I remember thinking, I just don't know how that works. And then I kind of went back and saw Twin Peaks, and it was about the murder of the high school homecoming queen, and I was like, wait a minute, that's a great idea. So it really did come out of that, and then I feel like, and John, maybe you can speak to this as well, once we had kind of decided to combine those two elements, that's when the pilot really came to life. And everyone was like, oh my God, this like heightens the Archie world, and the Archie world juxtaposed with Twin Peaks, that's where it really came alive.
And at the moment, obviously the parents are all fighting, but the children at the moment are getting along. Is that going to change?
Yes.
Which is all precarious. I think when you're dealing with teenagers, nothing is particularly consistent.
Yeah.
Is there any way we could get like a one-off Halloween special devoted to like Afterlife with Archie?
Yeah, that is something that's been talked about that I'm not allowed to talk about anymore.
No, I think what we can say is like we also talk a lot about Buffy, and Buffy obviously had amazing Halloween. Like we want to see what Riverdale is like on Halloween night. So however we can figure out how to do that.
Someone's
that is
dreaming.
Yeah, for sure. And then this year, because we started mid-season, we were kind of out of cycle. And though every CW and Warner Bros. Said, no, if you want to do a Halloween episode, do a Halloween episode. But we kind of like really embraced that it was out of time. So it's like, you don't know if like 3 months have passed or like 3 weeks since the death of Jason Blossom, I think. And
we decided 3 weeks.
Yeah, 3 weeks.
Did you know who had killed Jason when you started writing? When in the writing process did you decide?
You know what? I'll tell you this. No, it felt like at first Jason just drowned, and then it was like, no, Jason's been murdered. No, Jason's been shot. It's like, okay. And early on we had a vague idea of who the murderer might be, but then you kind of start seeing actors work together, and you start seeing relationships develop, and things change a little bit, and it's very rare for your first instinct to be the one that is there at the end.
Which is actually great when you're building a murder mystery, because then when you thought it was this person, you build a complexity to their character, and so it helps you to create suspense.
Yeah, and I remember like saying to Greg, I was like, Greg, but I don't know who did that. He's like, you'll figure it out. And then he's like, there's a cliffhanger, and I'm like, I don't know what that cliffhanger means. He's like, you'll figure it out. And that's the fun that keeps it spontaneous. Yeah.
All right, thank you.